Sailing is no longer a meme, but OldSchool RuneScape's first ever new skill. And I spent my entire day on release playing and exploring this insane new expansion on my group Ironman. In this video, I'd like to give you my thoughts, tell some people to shut up and stop crying, and for my RuneScape 3 homies, who are my biggest audience still, should we have this skill in our game too, or is it just a glorified minigame like Dungeoneering? If you want to see more OldSchool RuneScape content from me, make sure to subscribe, like the video to let me know you enjoy it, and who knows, you might be seeing progression videos in OldSchool RuneScape very soon. Not to worry, RuneScape 3 isn't going anywhere either. Crazy thought, but you can actually enjoy both games. Insane, I know. But anyway, enough yapping, my name's Chevalric, let's talk about it. So, sailing. Is it any good? The short answer is yes. Absolutely. And that is not just day one hype speaking either, because sure, it has some issues, like the slow XP rates, which as of me making this video are being addressed and will be attuned and further monitored to see if other changes are needed, but these issues are quite rare in my opinion. Behind the scenes chef here, editing chef, whatever you want to call me, I just wanted to mention something before I carry on. I don't know where I'm putting this into the commentary, but pretty much I really also did like the whole tutorial mission. Like, when you start sailing in Port Sarim, you pretty much have to do like a quest where you go into this mission, these people betray you, and you pretty much learn the basics of sailing. And I just think that is a really good way to introduce people, because you're on a better ship, you know what you want to strive for, it feels good, and then you suddenly just have a raft. And I think that is really cool, and I did a great job with that, and I just forgot to throw that into the general commentary, and only figured that whilst I was editing. So my bad, but here it is. Enjoy the rest of my commentary. The biggest question, and I guess assumption most people have about the skill, is that it's just a glorified minigame. Dungeoneering on water, and to me, that depends on whatever you class as a skill and a minigame, because I do think Dungeoneering is actually a minigame in the form of a skill, as we call it on this channel, lamponeering, put all your lamps on it because it sucks, but sailing is totally not, and might actually touch upon the core concepts of what a skill should be, at least in my opinion. To be honest, one of the things that just pisses me off in either RuneScape communities, but even society for that matter, as it happens in film, music, and literally everything, is that people have such high expectations of things. Not even high expectations, just unrealistic expectations. That even when something delivers, like factually, it still is not good enough. Whether that's the case for sailing is something you just have to decide, but I do think sailing's biggest challenge was making it feel like a skill in RuneScape, and honestly, I think they did a great job by doing so, at least as far as I played, achieving level 40 on day 1. A skill should have repetitive actions, multiple training methods, and should offer you rewards outside of its area of influence, or whatever you call the skill itself, like microcosm? I don't know. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that, for example, Herblore offers you potions for all skills, and has a place because of it, or smithing, allowing you to make god swords, or corporal shields, or bolts, or whatnot. It fits into the game world, and sailing also does this, by giving you all these locations where you can get new resources, but also giving you resources that are needed through its core gameplay loops for new potions or other useful items outside of the skill, by deep sea fishing on your boat, or from the monsters you can kill with the cannons on your ship. It feels integrated in that front, and at the fact that there are multiple different enough methods to train the skill, then I feel like, to me at least, it hits all the marks of a skill. You can do courier missions, which start off simple, go from port A to port B, but get a little more interesting once you unlock more ports. I like the idea that when I have a mission from Port Sarim to Cathaby, that I know I need to go past Musa Point, so I also pick up a Musa Point task. And when I delivered my cargo there, check the board and would you look at that? Another Cathaby task, or yet another pit stop at Brimhaven because I go past that too. It's very simple game design, but it does require a little bit of thought, and I kind of like that. And I do think that is very enjoyable, even if the XP rates are nothing to write home about. But yet again, we'll be touching on that in just a moment. Maybe you prefer some more combat-focused tasks. Once you're level 30, you can get Sailing Slayer task, where you need to take on sharks or birds or whatever creatures they assign you to do. And it's different, but it has the same core essence of the click the enemy and wait combat that most of OldSchool RuneScape has, and that's completely fine. Barracuda trials are another one, kind of like an obstacle course for sailing, which I haven't tried them yet, but from what I've seen, they are something different and actually give some decent experience an hour. And not to mention the XP you get from the points of interest you can spot from your boat and lock into your captain's book. It's chip experience, but still nice to have a rewarding gameplay loop for exploration. The difference with Dungeoneering is that Dungeoneering is on its own. You go to Demonheim, explore the dungeon, and repeat. The only change is that you have more puzzles or harder creatures inside, but besides that, it's something all on its own. Sure, the rewards like Chaotix, Gemback, or even some of the resource dungeon with exclusive monsters offer some integration. The skill itself is just a standalone activity, a minigame. It doesn't really require you to do fishing as well, or construction, or anything else that sailing does. It is just go into the dungeon, kill the monsters, open the doors, rinse, and repeat. And funnily enough, the argument of a minigame is funny to me too. People think fire making has improved due to Wintertot, or fishing because of Temporos, or fletching because of Totem Veils. But haven't those activities made the skills into minigames? Because, well, some of them are skinny bosses. Let's be honest, they are just kind of minigames. And sure, it has other ways to train the skill too, but the aspect people like about those skills are the freaking minigames. So even if scaling would feel like a minigame, isn't that what actually people would want? I don't know, man. But anyway, the experience rates are a bit of a slog, and I'm happy that they are improving them today and probably in the future as well. I do, however, prefer that the early levels are a bit slower, but this was a little bit too much in my opinion. Like 3k experience an hour or something. No. Yet I did see a good take on Reddit, which is very rare, but it said something along the lines, and I probably will not be able to find it to flash it on the screen, but if somehow the person who commented this sees this, shout out to you. I'd rather have to start feeling slow and it then speeding up over something like mining, where you unlock the best method once you got 3 tick granite at like level 56 or something, and you do that till 99. And honestly, I just have to agree with that. That is actually a W take on Reddit, which is extremely rare. Whilst I'm writing this script, roughly 24 hours after release, someone has hit 76 sailing already. If someone at 90 sailing, people would call it way overtuned, and Jagex just wants TikTok content, because people have slow attention spans, yada yada yada. So, regardless of what they did when it comes to experience rates, they could have not won. But if the higher levels sit around 90 to 120k XP an hour, I think that would be alright. Like, pushing 200k would be perfect in my eyes, but then again, I'm no game developer, and because I play both games excessively, my views might be a little bit twisted. I don't know, but I think that is roughly where it should be sitting, especially with how active it is. I'm always a big proponent of active skilling should be rewarded over passive skilling, which overall OldSchool does a great job at. At the end of the day, it's about having fun, which I know is crazy in my medieval point-and-click video game, but seriously, I had a blast sailing the seas. Going from Cathaby to Port Piscarilius made my heart race, as I didn't know if I had enough repair kits, and I got poisoned along the way, and just the feeling of that adventure across the open seas was fun, and seeing all the iconic places like Tutorial Island, but even Karamja from different angles just feels so good and interesting, and it makes me want to explore it more. There's a lot of potential with this skill, and I really hope Jagex capitalizes on it. Everything we got on release, even if there aren't that many rewards for me as a late mid-game player, besides some of the potions I guess, they released a fun and very RuneScape-y skill. From the funny references to the simplicity of the gameplay, it's RuneScape, and in my opinion, very old school as well. And I hope that in the future, we will be seeing more skills come into the game that feel fleshed out and well developed. Because, quite frankly, besides some minor glitches here and there, and the XP rates being a bit conservative, the launch itself was pretty smooth and I barely experienced any issues at all. So, kudos to you, Jagex. And to answer one final question, should we get this in RuneScape 3? Well, you're not going to like this answer that I'm going to be giving you, because I really don't know. And I know it's very fence-city, but let me explain. I think as it stands right now, RuneScape 3 does a lot of content releases just worse than OldSchool RuneScape. I talked about this before and concluded that most RS3 updates are 6.5s out of 10s. Not bad, nothing offensive, but nothing to really tell your friends about. With Sailing being a good release in my opinion, I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10, the comparison would just kill the chance that it has in RuneScape 3. Because at minimum, they have to match OldSchool RuneScape's release, but in reality, they need to exceed it because people expect them to look at the old school release and take everything that's wrong with it and then improve on it in RuneScape 3. As the expectations and the bar that has been set by the old school RuneScape team for releases are very high. Because in concept and essence, the expansion of the world, the overall gameplay loop would really suit RuneScape 3. And I think it would really add a lot to it. But then again, there are so many challenges, like for example, the combat system. How do you incorporate that with the ability system? Because I would love to see the old just click and point combat in RuneScape 3 as well for this. But then again, that would be kind of weird if you have old combat system when it comes to sailing, and then you have new combat system everywhere else. Like, whatever you feel about EOC, it just wouldn't make sense. And one of the goals that they have after the MTX removal is to unify the game and have it feel more whole. And adding something like this would not really make it feel whole, would it? So, in essence, yeah, it would be great, but more the expansion part than the skill itself. Which I guess is an argument old school RuneScape players would make as well, but then again, like I said, I think all the gameplay that it brings, like the actual gameplay loops and the skilling method, make it enough of a skill better than just an exploratory expansion to the world, which it also is, but I think the actual skilling loop, to me at least, is what makes it a skill. And one final thing, if you don't like sailing, think about it this way. We have a skill where you click on a tree and wait. Burn a log over and over again, or keep on running back and forth between an anvil and a bank. RuneScape is a boring, repetitive game, but we love it for what it is. And sailing is just as boring and repetitive as all the other skills, yet offers some sort of exploration. It obviously won't last forever, but at least it makes it feel interesting enough in my opinion, and a solid addition to old school RuneScape. Let me know what you think down below, leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to not miss any of my RuneScape 3 or old school RuneScape content. And my name is Chevalric, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Goodbye.